Greetings, Otaku Faithful. Thank you for joining me again this week. Once again, it's Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, and I'm here to bring you all my 5th official Q&A session right here on Otaku Assemble. As always, I'm here to bring you the latest, my latest Q&A session. So, now, not to take too much time with the introduction and whatnot, because I know I got a lot of questions to knock through. So pretty much the way I'm going to do this Q&A, I got my timer set, 25 minutes, and I'm going to see how many questions I can knock out within that 25-minute limit. So let's just get right to it. Okay, so first set of questions come from I Own the Spire. Do you rewatch Game of Thrones episodes to find things you might have missed? Surprisingly, not necessarily. And what I mean is, I do rewatch Game of Thrones episodes when I'm in the mood to watch them. For an example, I was rewatching last night. I watched the episode from season What Is Dead May Never Die. I was rewatching that episode, but that's just because I wanted to watch it and it happened to be on. I don't necessarily rewatch episodes for things that I might have missed. I just rewatch them because I want to watch them. Favorite place to get pizza? That is a very excellent question. Where is my favorite place to get pizza? That is a very, very good question. It used to be Papa John's, but I have, Papa John's kind of on my shit list right now, so, but when I order pizza, like, I started ordering from Domino's again, and they were on my shit list for years, but I just went ahead and started ordering from them again, so, just offhand, that's the only place I can think of right now. Any thoughts right now on Man of Steel? It's going to be fucking awesome. When is your next discussion of the week? Next Friday. Any sci-fi / fantasy book recommendations? I always recommend to any of my friends and fans of sci-fi and fantasy, if you haven't read the Earthsea series by Ursula K. Le Guin, I don't know what the hell you're doing with your life. Period. I'll repeat that. If you haven't read the Earthsea series by Ursula K. Le Guin, what are you doing with your life? Why are you breathing? I have to ask that question. Okay, so how do you feel about J.J. Abrams working on both Star Wars and Star Trek? Believe it or not, I'm going to save that question because I think right now I'm planning to address that topic for a OAW podcast. Probably, actually, it might be next week. The podcast is coming back. It's probably going to be that following week is when I'm going to tackle that. And so you'll be able to hear me and some of my other fellow YouTubers discuss that topic. So I'm actually going to save that question, King Tachi. So don't worry. A whole video is going to be dedicated to that topic. Okay, your thoughts on Rhino being a villain in Amazing Spider-Man 2? I haven't seen the first one because I don't want to, and there's a good chance I won't see the second, so I don't really care. Do you think you have outgrown anime and manga? I've outgrown the popular anime and manga. The majority of the shonen series, especially the ones, and remember, I'm talking strictly in the shonen genre. All of the top selling shonen titles right now, none of those pique my interest. So to answer that question in that regards, when you're talking about like the most popular shonen titles right now, yes, I have outgrown those. None of those pique my interest, in my opinion. Okay, what is your all-time favorite TV show? Now, if we're talking TV show, oh, and this comes from Hayden Claire Heroes. who did a kick-ass review of Totems #1, by the way. Appreciate that. Okay, so what is your all-time favorite TV show? I take it you're referring to like sitcom, syndicated show, not just a cartoon, in which case, hands down, that's Boy Meets World. Love Boy Meets World. Love that show. Who are your favorite reviewers on YouTube? My favorite reviewers on YouTube, pretty much everybody who's in my channel box on my channel. But my favorite, if I had to narrow it down to 3, those would be Geekvolution, believe it or not, I actually don't watch those many reviewers. Well, I'll be damned. Yeah, see, the thing was, because when I first started out, like when I first started, watching YouTube videos consistently, there was CCW TV, which was Comic Culture Warrior. But they don't make videos anymore. And then there was the Gorgeous Geeks, but they stopped doing reviews after a while. And they just started, they started doing more like interviews and stuff like that, which was cool, because they interviewed a lot of cool people, but they weren't doing like reviews like they used to. So yeah, and like most of my other friends, my fellow YouTubers, believe it or not, for the majority, I don't really watch their reviews. I usually watch all their other stuff. Like, for an example, like The Insane Game Freak. I don't watch his reviews because he doesn't review material that I keep up with. So that's why I don't watch his reviews. But I do watch like his societal discussions and all those type of videos. So yeah, okay. And then my man Zipblock Gory. Zip stopped doing reviews too. Well, no. He stopped reviewing comics, which was the main reason why I was watching Zip. Because Zip was the only person I knew on YouTube that was reviewing Spawn. And that was the main thing. Like, I always went to Zip's channel for, the next Spawn issue to read that review. To watch that review. But Zip stopped reviewing comics. And then he stopped posting up videos when he was doing movie reviews too. So yeah, a lot of the people I follow aren't, they're reviewers, but I don't watch their reviews. But I do watch Geekvolution. I do watch my man Hugo's reviews when he does like the TV roundups and some of his movie reviews, because he reviews a lot of what's the term I'm looking for? Like B-list movies. He reviews a lot of those. So okay, those two. And well, funny thing. Hayden Claire Heroes, also known as Comic Uno, I've seen some of her reviews because she is a big comic book reviewer. So I've seen some of hers. Yeah, I think that question really tripped me up because I had to think about it. It's like, wow, I really don't watch reviews that much. Not on YouTube anyway. And what made you start making reviews on YouTube? Well, like I just said, CCW TV, Comic Culture Warrior. That was the channel. That and the Gorgeous Geeks. Those were the 2 channels that made me, that made me want to start a YouTube channel. Okay, my question is, what are your thoughts on Warner Brothers' plans for their Justice League film? And if given control, how would you set up an on-screen DC universe? Mr. Effects Films, I'm sorry, brother, but that's actually the topic for the upcoming OAW podcast. So that's coming up next week. Keep an eye out for it. Okay, Lawrence Selicup. Will you watch The Walking Dead, and can you tell me your least favorite Arrow episode? Will I watch The Walking Dead? Not right now, and no time soon. Mainly because I just don't have time for it. And can you tell me your least favorite Arrow episode? My least favorite Arrow episode would have to be... Which one was it? It was one of the early ones. One of the really, really early ones. It was the one that had, the one when they were doing all the love triangles and shit. and I can't remember which episode. Let me see. Which one was that? Was that the one with like Oliver's birthday party? Yeah, it was the one with Oliver's birthday party. Whatever episode that was. I'm trying to remember which one that was. But yeah, that was my least favorite one. Yeah. Okay, another J.J. Abrams question. Okay, have you read the manga Tsubasa? If not, I highly recommend it. No, I haven't read it. How would you stage a Batman TV show? Well, I wouldn't do a Batman television show, just because he's been on television too much. Did you ever see Young Justice? Yeah, I dropped it after 8 episodes. Same thing. Have you seen Spectacular and Ultimate Spider-Man? If you have, which do you prefer? Spectacular, hands down, is far superior than Ultimate Spider-Man. I'm sorry, I don't like Ultimate Spider-Man. I think at times it's childish and immature. The constant breaking of the fourth wall with Peter, I do not like that. I don't like Peter's characterization. I don't like the fact that they try to integrate all the SHIELD stuff in it. I just don't like that series at all. I couldn't even watch it past the second episode. After the first 2, I just cut it. I was like, nope, can't do it. I don't like that show at all. Spectacular Spider-Man, hands down, was a much better series. Okay. Have you seen Chrono Crusade? Have you seen Hellsing? Yeah, I've seen both of them. I haven't finished Chrono Crusade though. I've only seen a little bit of it. Okay. What do you think about Peter Parker dying and Doc Ock taking up the role of Spider-Man? Do you think it was a good decision? And what are your general thoughts on Ock taking on the role? Oh, okay, so we're pretty much talking about the Amazing Spider-Man 700th issue, and then the segue over into Superior Spider-Man in the comics. Well, they've done this type of thing before. You know, the whole mind switch, body switch type thing. They've done that before. To be honest, I'm not sure they'll actually follow through with it. I think this is the type of thing that Marvel's doing in order to, you know, create buzz and whatnot, and, you know, a bit of controversy. Because of course this thing was going to piss off a bunch of Spider-Man fans. The same thing that what was it? One More Day and all that other jazz, you know, and then, you know, with the Miles Morales Spider-Man and all that type of stuff. You know, they've pretty much been making it their mission to do these really radical changes with Spider-Man, because that's their most popular character, and they know if they do it, you know, it's going to cause a whole bunch of controversy and a whole bunch of buzz. What I'm saying though is, I don't think this will be something that will be popular enough for them to actually like keep. You see what I'm saying? I can see them, you know, I don't see this lasting a long time. I'd probably give Superior Spider-Man 1, if lucky, maybe 2 years. But outside of that, I don't see it actually, you know, standing the course of time. I don't. Okay, where can I buy the latest Totems comic, and is Comic Book Hollywood ever coming back? Totems, you can buy a digital copy. Links in the description box below, just like they are on every video. And physical copies right now are only being sold exclusively at Acadiana Comics and Collectibles here in Lafayette, Louisiana. And that's just because I haven't branched out to other comic book shops yet. So yeah. Okay. Okay, Okay, let's see. If you could rewrite any comic book series, what would it be and how would you do it? If I could rewrite any comic book series, if I could rewrite it, I don't think there's any comic book series I would want to rewrite. There are series that I would like to write for. Off the top of my head, Sandman. I would love, like, you know, if there was ever like a pulp fiction type issue of Sandman where you got like a bunch of mini stories from different comic book writers and artists, you know, that pertain to the Sandman universe. I would love to write I would love to write a Sandman story. And then as far as like comic book characters I would like to write, I would love to write Quicksilver. You know, I would love to write a Daredevil story. Actually, I have a Quicksilver and Daredevil story. That's why I say those two just off the top of my head, because I would love to write those characters. Kyle Rayner, one of the Green Lanterns. Well, the most recent Earth Green Lantern, the fifth one, Kyle Rayner. I would love to write a story about Kyle Rayner. I would love to write an Aquaman story. And while I would be tempted to write a Wonder Woman story, I don't know if I could really do that character justice, you know. And that's just because the way I would portray Wonder Woman, Gail Simone has already done a great job at portraying that character in that manner. So, you know, me writing a Wonder Woman story would only, I feel like it would just be me kind of, you know, trying to live up to Gail Simone's, her work on the character. But yeah, so if I could write any comic book characters, definitely, you know, Sandman would be cool, Quicksilver, Daredevil, Kyle Rayner, Green Lantern, Aquaman, I would really dig writing. Oh, I would also like to write Gambit. I would really like to write a Gambit story. And maybe a Magneto story. Maybe. Okay. Fred the Pirate has 3 questions for me. Have you thought about selling totems on Comixology? I have. The thing is though, Comixology is expensive. And the screening process is long. Like, I think it takes up, like, what, 2 to 3 months to get approved on Comixology. So that's pretty much why Totems isn't on there yet, just because it's too expensive. What do you think about the new? I've already talked about the New 52, and what do I think about Marvel now? It's pretty much Marvel's New 52. So my sentiments about all that I've already discussed. Oh, do you currently make a living off of writing comic books, or do you have another job in mind? I wish I made a living off of writing comic books. Man, look. Let me put it to you like this. The moment I make a living off of writing comic books will be probably the happiest moment of my life. I wish I could make a fucking living off of writing comic books. And I'm going to tell y'all a secret that a lot of you guys might not know. A lot of comic book writers, I would probably even argue the majority of comic book writers do not make a living off of writing comics. They all have day jobs. All of them. Matter of fact, I met a colleague, I guess I can call him, because I'm not sure if we're good enough friends to really call him a friend. So a colleague, you know, a fellow comic book creator and writer, and a prominent one at that I've met at New Orleans Comic-Con. Hell, you know, I was telling him, I was like, yeah, man, you know, I've read your stuff, and oh yeah, it's great that you got, you know, this lined up. But even he told me he still keeps his day job, and I'm like, damn, you know, I'm like, dude, it's shit, you know. So yeah, I think for every comic book creator, the dream is to be able to live off of it, but that's not common. That is not common. And do you have another job in mind? Well, shit. Well, yeah. I have. I'm working on my regular day job. Yeah. Okay, so why didn't you do the art for Totems? Not enough time. Yeah. That the main reason why I wasn't the artist on Totems is because it would take too long for me to do the art and the writing. It would just take too long. I mean, Totems is already planned for a quarterly release, so every 3 months. If I was doing the artwork and the writing, and I'm not just talking about the illustration. I'm talking about if I was doing the entire book, pencil and inks, coloring, lettering, and the writing. If I was doing that all myself, I would probably only be able to put out maybe 2 issues a year, maybe. So yeah, that's just way too slow. That's just way too slow. So yeah, I needed help with it in order to get it out in a timely manner. What was the biggest change from leaving high school to your college year to your freshman year in college? What was the biggest change? Well, you're not the biggest change. The biggest. I think the biggest change was just the fact that I wasn't in school all day. When you go to college, you're not in class all day. You might only have 2 or 3 classes a day, and they might be spaced out. Now granted, I had a full workload my freshman year. I had 18 hours each semester. That's 6 classes. I had 6 classes each semester my freshman year. But yeah, you don't go when you're in grade school, middle school, and high school. You're in school from 8 to 3 for the most part. You're in school for pretty much 8 hours. That's not the case in college. In college, on any given day, you might only be in class for 3 to 4 hours. So yeah, I think that was the biggest change. What are your opinions on blaxploitation? I've already discussed blaxploitation. Favorite author? I already mentioned her in this video. 10 brownie points. Who can remember her name? I've already mentioned her. Actually, I mentioned 2 of them. See what I did there? Okay, what are your aspirations for OAW Comics? Will OAW Comics be only about comics the entire time, or will OAW Comics eventually transgress into different types of media? OAW Comics, for the most part, it's a comic book publishing company. And yeah, the main focus for that right now is creating comic books. That's what I plan to do with OAW Comics. If ever it gets to the point, I mean, people ask me all the time, oh Larry, do you want to get Totems made into like an animated series or a movie or anything like that? And my answer's always been the same. My answer, even now, is always the same thing. If somebody is interested in the material, who would want to option it out for that type of thing, yeah, cool. I have no problem with it. Yeah, that would be awesome. But that's not my main focus. I don't make comics with the intention of making it into a cartoon or a movie. My goal is to make comic books, to continue the sequential art and the graphic novel medium. That's what I want to do. So yeah, if in fact, anything like that ever happens, cool. Fucking A, let's do it. But that's not my goal as of right now. And if you're talking about transgressing into different types of media, you talk about like OAW Comics doing our own type of stuff, I tell you, man, now you want to talk about a dream, dude, man, look, bruh, and I know I'm running on time, I pretty much got like maybe 5 minutes left, but let me tell you this, man, if I ever got to the point in my life where I could adapt my own material, so what I'm saying is, if I was able to like make my own animated series or my own films or web series or some shit like that, that's the dream, dude. That would just be like that would be the equivalent of what Marvel is doing with Marvel Studios, where they're adapting their own material. That would be that same type of like significance, like, whoa, man, like we can make our own stuff now. We don't have to license to all these other film studios and production companies. We can make our own stuff. Like, that would be ideal, man. Let me put it to you like this. When that happens, I can die a happy man. Like, I could die the next day and be so happy. So happy. You know what? I'm just gonna see how many questions I can finish before this camera runs out. Okay. Have you ever read Preacher or Sandman comic books? And if you did, what did you think about them? And which is better? Okay. Well, I'm a Sandman fan. I enjoy Sandman, especially since I haven't read all of Sandman. I've only read what was it? It was Midsummer Night's Dream. What was the other? Endless Nights, I think was the name of it. And I'm trying to remember the other one. Most of them I read in high school. So I haven't even read all of Sandman, but I did like it. Just off top, I liked it. And you know, I've read up on the mythology. Like I've read up on Sandman, so I know about it and whatnot. Now Preacher, I haven't read Preacher, but I read about Preacher, and Preacher sounds pretty cool too. So yeah, I can't really say which is better than the other because I don't think I've read enough of either to even make that comparison. And I think you can't really make that comparison until you read all of both. Once you've read all of both series, then you can actually sit down and try to compare the two. Okay, hey Larry, where do you film your videos? Cause up until 13 minutes and 54 seconds ago, I thought you filmed them in your dorm room in college. Now that you're graduated, I can see that's not the case. I have an apartment, man. I haven't lived on campus in 2 years. Yeah, this is my apartment. Question, what did you think on the Screw Attack Superman versus Goku episode? Did you agree at all, or did you disagree at all, or maybe agreed? No, I agreed with it. But that's just because, like, first off, I knew how that would end because I'm well versed in both those characters, so I knew how that would go. As far as like the outrage about it and all that type of shit, I just thought that was ridiculous. I mean, like, I hope everybody who got up in arms about that does realize that they were bickering about somebody's opinion about two fictional characters that don't exist, right? Y'all know that, right? Yeah, it was pretty. Yeah, the nerd rage after that was released was hugely fucking ridiculous, and to be quite honest, it was really childish. Which is why, you know, when people say shit like geeks and nerds, like, oh, you know, that's kid shit, y'all childish. Well, that outrage over the Screw Attacks thing, perfect example, and that. Honestly, I just think that was a really bad look for all of geekdom and shit. That was just stupid. That was just really stupid. Have you read the comic Fables? And if so, what are your... No, I haven't read Fables yet. Haven't read it. Oh, another Young Justice question. Most difficult phase. What advice would you give high school student about to transition into college? Oh, I kind of just answered that. But as far as advice to a college student, stay on your shit. High school student going into college, stay on your stuff. Remember, when you go to college, you're living on your own. Mom and dad aren't around to keep you on track and to put a foot in your ass. So just make sure you stay on top of your shit. So yeah, that's the best advice I can give you. Take care of business. Don't fuck around. Stay on your shit. Get it done. Oh, what is your favorite part about writing Totems? Favorite part about writing Totems? I don't know. My favorite part, as much difficulty as writing that story gives me, I think my favorite part is just the act of writing it. You know what I'm saying? I think my favorite part about writing Totems is like when I get to the point where I get into the story and when I get like I'm in it. You know, that's it. You know, just the euphoria I get from producing work and producing a story, and when it's clicking and I'm reading it and I know it's clicking, I'm like, yeah, that's good. That whoa shit